Welcome, everyone. I am Chris Gore. This is Hollywood on the Rocks on a Wednesday. Today on the show, lots of news. We're going to be talking about Dune Part 2. It opens tomorrow in theaters. I hope you got your tickets because it is selling out everywhere. Fingers crossed for good things. We're going to talk about it. Lots of Dune news, plus lots of news across the world of pop culture. Wednesdays quickly turned into our news day, and we have plenty of it. Plus, joining us today live in 1 hour, David Dastmalchian is back. You saw him as Peter de Vries, the Mentat, in Dune Part 1. You also saw him in Oppenheimer. Well, David is here in a horror film that is opening in a couple of weeks called Late Night with the Devil. He's going to tell us all about it. I can't wait to talk to him. Plus, your chat comments and questions, and Alan Ng is waiting in the wings. So let's get things kicked off. Let's get things started. I'm amped up today, folks. I'm amped up. Let's go. Come on. What?
This is
Film threat!
That's not what I meant to.
no, yes, no, yes. Oh. Lord Helmet, what? You're needed on the bridge, sir. Knock on my door. Knock next time. Yes, sir. Did you see anything? No, sir. I didn't see you playing with your dolls again. Good.
Alan!
You look just like Rick Moranis. It's like I could really tell that was you.
Is it my face or is it actual Rick Moranis?
I think it's your face. Tell. No, that was you. But
all right, that was me.
It didn't look that far off.
Well, I hope Glenn uploaded that one because I never know with these clips. We're always getting copyright claimed. We got to be careful. We may end up playing fewer videos on the show. How's it going, man?
Good.
I haven't seen you since
I don't know if you
Sunday.
can see, but Kermit is enjoying the Dune bucket.
Wait, that's you. Okay, wait a second. That in your background. Yeah. Oh my God. How is that? That looks, dude, how could you do that to Kermit?
You talked to Kermit about that.
Oh my God,
what's
man.
His deal? I don't know.
All I can say is this.
Prepare her for our pleasure.
Kermit looks better in that video, I gotta say. So lots going on. Dune Part 2 is coming out. It's getting rave reviews, not just across. It's the high rating on Rotten Tomatoes is crazy. It's 97% critics. I don't know if the audience score is there yet. I assume it will be. We'll check it out. But it's getting a lot of praise. People that, a lot of the skeptics on YouTube are loving the film, and that's good to hear. But let's go to our chat comments and questions before we kick things off. We've got new members, Super Pooch 97, Book_Mark, and me and my monkey all became new members today. Join us on Discord. The Discord link will be in there. And then also you get access to not only a member stream, but all sorts of exclusive videos you can only see if you're a member, including recent video of an interview Q&A with the director of Godzilla -1. Eric K for 5 says Dune 2 success will show Hollywood Zendaya needs to be in every movie. How soon will we get look-alike 12-year-old girl looking ladies in everything? Yeah, I'm not a huge Zendaya fan. I mean, she's a supermodel who can remember words, but for my money, I think she's kind of the weakest part of Dune, and there you go.
They just announced it. A new movie starring Zendaya and Pedro Pascal.
Wait, are you joking?
No. Yes, I am joking, but it's bound to happen. It will happen one day.
So that's a joke, not a.
It is a joke. Yeah.
All right. Well,
we're just saying they're in everything. They're in everything.
They're in everything. Hey, look at Nerd Cookies is here. Chris Moranis. Thank you, Nerd Cookies, Elaine. It was a pleasure to meet you and be on a stream with you. not only on Midnight's Edge in the morning, but also on our Versus show on Mondays. I hope you'll join us again on that show, which was so much fun. People are really, I'm getting a lot of high praise on the show. I'm like, I could do better. We could do better. I think we did a little better on the intros, but the Versus show is a work in progress. But join us on Mondays. It's just a bunch of people who are obsessive nerds and film pundits and pop culture commentators. And we all kind of have a conversation. And Midnight's Edge After Dark says, 07? What is that? It's good to see Tom here. What is that? I have no idea what that means.
Did you talk about it on Monday?
What is a little O and a large 7 mean? I have no idea. 07. Okay. The highlights of these comments are why
I didn't start that one.
Hey, Joseph Metzger. Yes, I gave you a shout out on the Nerdrotic Nooner not that long ago. Hey, from the Metzger family, you met us yesterday. I was the one on the phone. That's right. I talked to you via FaceTime. Thanks for being so awesome. Well, Joseph, thank you for watching and enjoying what I do. It was such a pleasure to meet your lovely family. We got deep into books. I got some great book recommendations. But I will say this, and this is probably why I like Dune Part 2. I like Dune Part 2 with an asterisk, which is I have a ton of problems all related to the fact that the book is better. The book is better. But when is the book not as good as the books are always better than movies? Facts. But I'm a cinema guy before I'm a literature guy. So I have to say the spectacle of Dune Part 2 sucked me in. I hope you'll reconsider, and at least one member of your family, the Metzger family, will go and see Dune Part 2. But Joseph, it was great to meet you, and I hope to run into you. I go to the movies every week. I'm always at the movies, probably 3 times a week. Thank you, Joseph. Say hi to everyone else in your family, including your dad, Brian. All right. And look, Elijah's here. It's the Metzger family's watching this. What's going on? Hey, Chris, this is Elijah saying hi from me and the rest of the nerdy Metzger family. You met at the Tenet IMAX screening last night. It was so great seeing and talking to you. Yeah,
Did that movie get better over the year?
Elijah, awesome. It was great. Tenet, I feel like I get it. I just sort of I have problems with that movie. The sound mix was better. Seeing it IMAX on the best IMAX screen was better. My seats could have been a little further back, but I really enjoyed it. And everyone got a 70 millimeter strip of film except for me. I literally was walking in the theater and they were giving out these little 70 millimeter film prints. And I walked in there like, we're just out. You have enough for everyone. The screening was 100% sold out every seat, including front row. But I didn't get that. But Elijah, it was great to meet you and your family. That was great. We took pictures, posted on social media. If you're smart, you're probably not on social media. But thanks again. It was awesome. Red French Moon for €2 says Versus was great. And I got an e-kiss from Danica. Wait. Nerd Cookies explains it to me, the Gen Xer. 07 is a salute emoji. Oh, so it's like a salute.
Yeah. So O is the head and 7 is the arm and hand.
Look, I just learned what TBH means, to be honest. I just learned what TBH means. So thanks for tolerating my Gen X-ness. So an X-Ray Girl says, I support my dad.
My daughter's in the chat.
Hey, interesting. When we go to Vegas, we're going to cross the streams. Literally, that should be the thumbnail. Crossing the streams. We're going to live stream not only on Nerdrotic for the Nooner, but also on the Film Threat channel. We're going to do like a 2-3 hour live stream of both of our shows. It's like a Marvel 2-in-1. Tell Gary it's like a Marvel. It's like a Marvel 2-in-1.
So do I show up?
Hi, Dad. I miss you.
Can't wait to see you.
So there you go. We'll actually be on a stream with. It's going to be the 4 of us. Me, awesome. You, Gary, and X-Ray Girl, and we're going to be doing. Yeah, that's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah. So two Caucasians, 2 Asians. Who will win the supremacy battle?
Yeah. Oh my God. Super chats here from the Demofiend for 5 says, do you think that Count Fengring should have made an appearance? And do you think You know what? Let's save Dune questions for when we talk about Dune. So I'm going to put a pin in it. Thank you, the Demi Fiend. But we'll get to that. Wild Hunter for €2. No, yes. No, sorry. Pounds. Proper money. I took that from Gary. Bob Iger, 204,889 of his 203,000 Disney shares. He sold 90%. That's crazy. And then Bush and Ryu Cat for $5 says, who wins in a fight, Emperor Walken or Emperor Ng? And Chris, will you one day review some Blu-rays you own or coming out G-1 4K Blu-ray? Maybe. I have searched for Godzilla -1 Blu-ray 4K, not for pre-sale yet. Haven't seen it, but I have a couple Dune Blu-rays sitting here. Put myself full screen for a second. This is the Sci-Fi Channel series right here. Blu-ray, got the box set for that. And this is the 4K of the 1984 Dune, and it's loaded with extras. It's from Arrow Video, and love them. They do great stuff, Arrow Video. Awesome. So yeah, at some point we might bring back, there's a whole bunch of DVDs Day episodes that we posted, about 50 episodes that are on. You can just search on the channel. There's a whole playlist, but yeah, I might start doing it. Good suggestion. I'm seeing Dune tomorrow. I want Dune 24/7, says Pilgrim Media for 2. You and me both, brother. Red French Moon. Oh, wait, we already said that one. Let's, and I'm going to save the Dune questions for later when we talk about Dune. We have some news. We've got news, folks. And we're going to start with this. We're going to start with something fun. No, I'm going to do fun next. Let's do this. I got lots of fun news, and David Dastmalchian's coming up. Let's take a look at Bill Skarsgård in The Crow. The Crow is a classic film. It has become a modern classic. Brandon Lee, of course, tragically lost his life in The Crow. It's become kind of a goth horror classic. This is your first look at Brandon Lee in The Crow. What do you think, Alan? What are your thoughts?
That is creepy as hell. It looks good though. Yeah, well, boy, that guy, a far cry from John Wick 4.
Yes, a far cry from John Wick 4. One thing I didn't realize about Bill Skarsgård, he is very tall.
Yeah,
got to be like 6'2". He is a biggin. But this is really, I don't know. I mean, it's in the sort of style of the world. I'm not a huge fan of remaking this movie, but according to the press release that I received just before earlier today, this is what he's going to look like in the film. And it also stars Danny Houston and FKA Twigs. So it's they describe it as a modern reimagining of. Sorry, what?
FKA Twigs is an actor.
Correct. That is the name of the actor. So it's a modern reimagining of the original graphic novel by James O'Barr. Maybe they'll stick more to the novel. I don't know. But it's directed by Rupert Sanders. And this is our first look. I don't know. What does the chat think?
Yeah.
What does the chat think about this?
In next month, his movie Boy Kills World comes out. And he bulked up for that movie. He went full action star for that movie. And from what they told me, it was at the end of John Wick 4 that he got into this physical regimen to get into this shape, because this is pretty similar to how he looks in Boy Kills World.
The Nerd Far Away says, nope, nopity nope. Don't mess with my classics. We don't need any more Crow movies. The first was enough. And Red French Moon says, I like Bill Skarsgård, but that look, bad direction from the maker from the film. All right.
Well, I like that he doesn't look normal. That, whatever is going on with the abs there, it feels indicative of what that character would look like.
Well, it makes me want to not eat bread and cut down on my carbs. Constitution Pictures, who's a member, says, hopefully they don't remake the soundtrack. The original Crow soundtrack is incredible. Oh, you can guarantee they're going to redo the soundtrack. And CD Stein 69 for our last comment says, this is going to be garbage. Sorry, I can tell this is trash just from the pictures. He's not Eric Draven. He looks more like Jared Leto as the Joker.
Yeah,
Well,
definitely.
Yeah. All right. Real quick, just a quick reminder, like, share, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, sign up as a member, join us on Discord. Thank you, Lord Thoth, for that. And now let's pivot. We're going to talk about something else here. We are going to talk about, this is all Marvel related. Okay. Is Brie Larson, this is all Marvel related. Is Brie Larson done with Marvel? Okay. There's a quote. She was at, I believe it was the SAG Awards.
SAG Awards, that's right.
And she was quoted as saying, I'm going to share the article, but they're basically doing a whole article on like just her quick comment, which was, I'm not going to talk about that. And that was it. It was a really quick comment. I don't know if you can draw all that much from it. Obviously, it feels as if she's kind of embarrassed by the performance of the Marvels and the sort of dunking on that film. I'm gonna share. I'm sort of combining two news stories into one, but the whole thing here is Brie Larson. Is she done playing that character? Is she just going to fulfill her contractual obligations? Clearly, she's going to be in an Avengers movie because she's the one that coined the term the Avengers, right? She's the one that came up with that name. Her character came up with it. We know that from the Captain Marvel movie. Alan, I want to hear your thoughts. Is Brie Larson done?
Is she done? This is weird because it's not like anything official has been said, and we are extracting a lot from a very quick quote of saying, "What have you heard?" And to me, it's just that quote. She made that quote of don't ask me, and then the one from D23, and all it just tells me that Disney doesn't know how to treat people. It just sounds like they're ghosting her at the moment. I think she's done in the sense that current Marvel is done, and that there has to be a pivot. I do wonder about certain projects coming up, about Ironheart, about what's going to happen with the Thunderbolts. It just, there's a whole mess there, and I don't know. It just goes back to this to what we've been saying. Marvel, Disney, Star Wars, it's a mess. It's a shit show. And apparently Brie is no longer in the Rolodex.
It's definitely an S show.
I'm sorry.
We're trying to cut down on the swearing.
I know. We're 18.
Alan, who
never swears.
never swears on this. So there you go.
I'm feeling free. That's the thing.
Jonathan Majors is gone as Kang.
Mm-hmm.
The new Avengers movie is being retitled. Has nothing to do with the Kang Dynasty. Brie Larson looks like she's certainly, let's just say this, she's certainly unenthusiastic. And then we have this. And I learned this just before we were about to go on screen, and we need to talk about it. Okay. We need to talk about this video that just dropped. I'm going to play it. Just give me a second here. I got to get through. I got to get through this commercial.
I know, because they ain't paying us. That's for sure.
Yeah, for sure. They're not paying us. It says video plays soon.
All right. Get a razor.
I'm going to get it.
All right.
Okay. If you could mute me, Alan, we're going to check out. It's Women of Marvel. Just a sec. Women of Marvel #1. This is the official trailer. Let's watch it.
What the
I
hell?
don't know, man.
What the hell is
Look,
that?
okay, so the apparently the plot revolves around a character that steals all the women from the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Some are saying that it's like basically the villain is an incel. I mean, I'm rolling my eyes at this. It's sort of whatever, but is this I talked about it on the Nooner with Gary. Is this going to get people into comic book stores to buy this anthology? It's Women of Marvel #1, which I assume that'll be a #2. I assume all women worked on it. Alan, what are your thoughts? Marvel thought it was that they should drop a trailer about this.
Yeah, I'm going to say the thing that gets me in trouble all the time. Is there enough women out there who collect comic books that are interested in this? Yeah, look. I mentioned in my Marvels review that it was made for teen girls and not for comic book fans.
Right.
And the point was there's just not enough of an audience base to want to buy this, let alone make it successful, let alone recoup its money. I mean, and then this trailer, it makes no sense. All the women are stolen. I don't know what that means. Is that something that's compelling? I should get some sense of what's going to happen and why I should want to buy this. And then the animation, I don't know what the hell, but that used to be cool when they would animate a comic book. That looked cheesy as hell.
Well, they do this a lot on the official Marvel channel. They'll do
but
trailers.
it was cool when they first started doing it. That does not look cool at all. For a Squirrel Girl to kind of bend in and then move her arm.
But what's funny is it's actually kind of, I would liken it to the old school when Marvel first did cartoons back in the 60s. They animated the artwork and it was very limited. So like Captain America would be completely stiff and then just like one arm would move. And it was just like super cheap, but it was the original Jack Kirby art. So I love those old Marvel. Just look up like those old Marvel cartoons. They're like radio plays that are animated. And it's the animation is very limited, but I liked those. As for this, look, it's just a trailer for an anthology comic. This has been in the works for a while. It was clearly in the works before the Marvels opened, but I feel like this doesn't help. If they're about to make a pivot with Marvel, the release of this comic doesn't help.
Yeah, but my point is when you cater to a specific group, realize that if that group is not predisposed to like comic books, you're going to fail. Right. When they cast Halle Bailey as the Little Mermaid, the idea was, this will attract the African American audience. They didn't show up. When you had the lesbian couple in Lightyear, that was supposed to be there to attract the LGBT audience. They didn't show up. Are women comic book collectors going to come out in droves and not only buy this comic but buy several, to collect all the variant covers if there are any? Again, I go back and I keep going back to this. Disney doesn't know how to run a business, and they just assume that catering and pandering to a specific identity group will make that will make that project successful. And we just keep getting proven over and over again that that's a losing prospect. It's not going to be successful.
All right, we shall see. Is it going to be a huge bestseller at comic book stores? We'll find out. Now to your comments and questions here from Pilgrim Media for 2. Gail Simone is a bitter, miserable person. Oh, you would only know that if you looked at her social media. CM Chunk says they're making the same mistake as they are with the movies, pandering to people that won't buy their comic. Yep. And the trailer is done by a first-year student at art school, says Julian Marco. And as Gary said earlier from Jason, comic shops are saved. Yay. And Slayer 96, DA the first, member for 1 month, says, I will make weed-based movies and raunchy comedy.
Well, I want to say a weed-based comic book. Kind of a sniff type of thing.
You should see a movie. You should see a movie. There's a couple movies actually on Full Moon Entertainment. There's one called The Weed G's. Weed, Jies, The Ouija's. Look for that one. And then there's another one called, I think it's called Killer Bong.
Yes. Or Evil Bong.
Evil Bong. That's what it is. Sorry, not Killer Bong.
Yeah.
Evil Bong is the movie. Those movies are on Full Moon Entertainment. So there you go. All right, more news. We are filled with news today, folks. So please bear with us. And we have a lot of Dune-related news. I'm going to share something with you that I shared earlier, that I shared on social media, but maybe not everyone has seen it. Maybe not everyone has seen it. We're just going to play this. It is called One Day at the Comic Shop. It's a cartoon that was made by a creator who is a veteran in the industry. His name is Dominic Polsino. Dominic is a director who has worked on shows like King of the Hill, Family Guy, Rick and Morty. He also happens to be a fan of myself, Alan, and it's I'm going to read this description.
Fan of the Fellowship.
Fan of the Fellowship. I'm going to read this description before we watch this cartoon. It is 1 minute and 37 seconds. So let me share it here. I'll go full screen in just a moment, but I want to read the description because it's important. It's got almost 9,000 views. It says, just a short experiment and homage to some of the critics who have been more entertaining to listen to than most recent entertainment. We'll put a link in the description. Sign up, put this video in your history, give it a like, and subscribe to Dominic's channel. We're going to watch this video. It's 1 minute and 37 seconds. You might recognize a couple people from this. Alan, would you mute me?
Yes.
Okay, I loved the old Star Trek animated show. Sure. I loved it as a kid. It was so close to like when the original Star Trek came out that they used the same writers. So the scripts are really good.
Stop. Paramount, stop trying to make New Trek happen. No one will remember it in 5 minutes, much less 5 days, 5 weeks, 5 months, 5 years, or 50 years. That's why we still go back to Kirk and Spock. We still go back to Picard. We're still talking about Deep Space Nine. No one will be talking about a single moment of Kurtzman Trek outside of Picard season 3. Right. Stop.
When you take a family brand where mum, dad takes the kids to go and see a film, and you're pushing this ideology, which is not meant for children, and we get this stupid standoff between corporation and customer, guess who wins? The customer
every single
wins.
Time, and that's who we want to win. As what we want is the free expression and exchange of ideas, so we can mock the fuck out of them whenever we want.
I'm here to talk to you about voting. Did you know that ballots could be naked?
I'm like naked. They're sitting there literally just telling you how fucking stupid these people think you are, right?
And if you don't do exactly what I tell you, your ballot could get thrown out.
Those who preach the loudest have the most to hide.
Yep.
All day, every day.
In what other environment can a business say like, oh, the customers don't want what I'm selling? It's the customers clearly that are wrong then. They need to change.
Anyway, go away now.
That's
awesome.
So okay, that was so amazing. Dominic, who is in the world of animation, working animator, very talented. I'm just I don't know. I'm tickled and I'm complimented. So Dominic, thank you to you. Give a like on that video. We'll put a link in the description to the video, and please subscribe to his channel so he can get monetized. He's almost up to 1,000 subscribers. So help him out. And let's see, do we have any comments on this? Cartoon As is my favorite, says Castigan. Oh my God, that's great. And then Red French Moon, who's a member, says, already watched it 4 times. He made a Game of Thrones season 7 stuff that is funny. Chat, watch it. Okay, yeah, he's got other videos on his channel. These are literally just cartoons he makes on the side for fun. And Lucas C says, Gary wore the same outfit today that's in this cartoon.
Was he wearing an Isom cap?
Yeah.
First of all, I should be taller than you.
You should be taller, and you should have said at the very least 69. Like when I'm piling them up, like we 69 comics.
Yeah, I should, or I should have been carrying your dry cleaning.
Sure.
And take out.
All I can say is this: so I've corresponded with Dominic. This is going to be the first of many cartoons, and we'll share them with you. And thank you to Dominic for being a fan. And appreciate that you're entertained by us. That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Time to pivot because we have so much to talk about today. There's so much to talk about. And we have a lot of Dune news. But I want to talk about, well, first of all, I put a lot of stuff in here just because there's so many things that are happening. This is a big story for me. Okay. Big story for me is John Waters is making his first film in 20 years with Aubrey Plaza. I'm super excited about it. This just broke in Variety. So let me zoom in on this. If you could share screen, Alan, if you could do that for me.
Share screen?
Yeah, it's already in there.
Okay.
So John Waters returns to filmmaking after nearly 20 years to direct his adaptation of his novel Liar Mouth. So I don't know anything about this. I'm super excited because John Waters he's one of the filmmakers that was sort of my gateway into indie film. I discovered him at the age of 16. John Waters, I wrote an essay about it in an issue of Film Thread back in the 80s, early 90s. Basically, John Waters changed my life because I didn't realize how that indie film could do this. This is crazy that independent film could be this, just broke all the rules, so far ahead of its time, very anti-censorship. Here from Variety, legendary filmmaker John Waters is stepping back into the director's chair for the first time in 18 years for an adaptation of his 2022 novel, Liar Mouth, a feel-bad romance. I mean, John Waters makes fun of everything. John Waters also, who happens to be gay, and he makes fun of everything. Let me just say that. And if recent comments from him are true, he's not sort of down with a lot of the nonsense in the wokerati. Waters, a pioneering independent filmmaker who catapulted to cinema infamy with bad taste masterpieces like 1972's Pink Flamingos and 1981's Polyester, will write and direct the project for Village Roadshow with Steve Rabineau producing. It'll be Waters' first movie since 2004's A Dirty Shame. And it says, Liar Mouth is the craziest thing I've written in a while. So maybe it's fitting that my novel was shocking enough to jumpstart the engine of my film career, the 76-year-old filmmaker said in a statement. Thrilled to be back in the movie business, hopefully to spread demented joy to adventuresome moviegoers everywhere. That's awesome. I'm just I've always been a big John Waters fan. So to see this is I'm pumped about it. We're going to stay on top of it. And I'm just, maybe I'll get him on the show. Maybe I'll get John Waters on the show. I've interviewed him for almost every movie he's put out. He's been frequently featured in Film Threat magazine, and then I've also interviewed him in the past. So there you go.
At least 20 years ago.
I interviewed him in the 80s. Okay. Somehow I got his home phone number and called him, and it was amazing. So there you go. So I'm pumped about that. All right.
We do have a comment about it.
Oh, cool. Let's go to the comment.
It's the last one.
Okay. From Rumble, $8.24 says John Waters should wait until the pendulum started swinging back away from the woke nonsense to get back into filmmaking. He hasn't been able to shock anyone because the world is crazier than his ideas. I mean, I would agree with that. But what can you say? And Want Biscuit says, my recommendation, if anyone likes Waters, I suggest watching Bill Maher's interview with him, a random episode last year. I watched that. So good.
That was great. That was a great
Waters
interview.
is hilarious and witty, amazingly sharp. Yeah, he's also been a frequent guest on Bill Maher's Politically Incorrect. He was on Politically Incorrect, and he was also on the new show that's on HBO. So there you go. All right. More stuff to talk about, which is crazy. We've got so much. Where do I start here? Okay. I might want to save that one. I
don't know which one you're talking about.
All right. I want to talk about something because
Okay.
we have so much Dune news. There's so much Dune news. Let's just share a quick bit of Dune news, and then I'm going to show you something. This is weird. Okay. I gotta wait, where is the... Okay, hang on. Here we go. I'm going to play this video. Okay, hang on. Can you switch? This is a bit of Dune news.
You want me to switch what?
Sorry, Alan.
Okay.
We're going by the seat of our pants today.
There you go.
By the seat of our pants. I have a video to share that I think this is the Dune news you never thought you needed. This is a Dune Part 2 promotion called Master the Sand. Wait, we got a little typo in there. Master the Sandworm. Let me fix that real quick. So part of this promotion for Dune Part 2 is Master the Sandworm. We're going to watch this video. It's like 30 seconds. I just got, I get text messages from Dune Part 2 that's in my phone book. We're going to watch this video. Alan, if you could mute me.
Can you make it a little bit larger by
I'm going to make it larger. I'm going to make it larger.
Okay.
So let's check out this video. Alan, if you could mute me. Oh, it's called Master the Sandworm. Here we go, folks.
Have you ever had a dream about your first ride?
All right. Okay, I thought that was so dumb that I had to show it. It's okay, so it's a filter on Snapchat.
I think you meant to say it was so dumb I need to do it myself.
Well, look,
so you will show that to us on Friday.
You're talking to a guy surrounded by Dune popcorn buckets, which begs the question, this connects. How many Dune popcorn buckets is too many? Because I went to a Regal movie the other day and I got their version of the Dune popcorn bucket. Not nearly as cool, but it does come with a cup holder. You can put me full screen, Alan. Check out this cup holder here. It's a Dune cup holder with the Atreides symbol on it. There you go, House Atreides. Yeah. And this is the Regal bucket. Not quite as cool as the as the worm bucket that I have here. Yes, I now have I have 4 of these buckets, to be clear. I have 4 of these buckets now. By request, X-Ray Girl and Garrett from Normal World requested buckets because they're having trouble getting buckets. So I'm doing that. I don't know if I'm going to do that Snapchat promotion. I think it could be kind of funny. I don't know. Maybe Glenn, we could use it for a video. But I thought it was so ridiculous because they're really leaning into like TikTok and social media with all the Dune promotion. So I don't know how I feel about it, but I'm probably going to ride the worm. I'm probably going to download Snapchat just to make that video. I'll post it for members only because it's the dumbest thing I've ever seen. It's pretty stupid.
Right. So Chris Gore will ride the worm.
Yeah. There you go. And by the way, it's Mexican Iron Man's birthday today.
Oh, hey.
And so there you go. I just want to mention that. It's Mexican Iron Man's birthday today.
All right.
So
note, work on segues. All right.
I love when Alan will like make fun of me, sort of on the fly, just like deadpan. I think it's funny.
Well, yeah, I mean, happy birthday, Mexican Iron Man. But I thought,
what does it have to do with
something bigger than that? So you're gonna give him one of your.
I don't know. It ties into riding a sandworm. Hey, we've got over 600 people watching us live. Please subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed and smash that like button. El Chupahueso has become a YouTube member. Thank you for that. And Suns and Shadows just gifted 5 Film Threat memberships.
Thank you.
Those who got the memberships, go to the community tab, click on membership. You'll see the link to the Discord to sign up and a whole bunch of videos and content only for members. In fact, we're giving away digital copies of Contagion. We have 4K copies to give away only to our members. So we do giveaways to members. So I just post the codes and it's first come, first get the digital code. So there you go. It's membership has its privileges. And Mexican Iron Man says, thank you, Film Threat. There you go. Willie the Monkey King's Mexican Iron Man, incredibly generous. Willie the Monkey King's music member for 2 months says, Pimp Daddy Gore, when are you going to write any WGA response article. You said you had enough material. Also, Alan, big D-ing work on the D files. Yeah, I have a growing file. We actually did do a follow-up story. It's like 10 pages. We're going to do a part 2 to that.
Yeah. Well, we're doing a column that I don't think we decided the name yet.
We need a name for that column. So, all right, we're going to pivot for one more, another news. We have so much news. I'm really kind of overwhelmed today. But I want to talk about this. And we're going to have more Dune news. We're going to have more Dune news later. We have a lot of Dune related things. Who is Professor Warren Smith? Professor Warren Smith is a college professor who became famous over a video that went viral where a student had a question about J.K. Rowling's so-called transphobic views. And Warren Smith actually went out of his way. It's like a 6-minute video, 5-6 minutes, and it's cut down, where Professor Smith actually walks the student through a thinking process where the student asks themselves questions about this so-called stated fact about J.K. Rowling. And you see the layers kind of come off in a very measured, calm way. I have to give Warren credit just for his very calm demeanor, something I'm still working on as an adult here. But he has this very calm demeanor where he walks the student through this, and you've all probably seen this video. It surfaced on social media, the subject of a lot of news stories. Well, come to find out, Warren is following me on social media.
Oh, hey now.
And not just that, Warren, I'm going to share this. If you could share screen with the tab that is there, Alan. If you could share that screen. We're going to watch this video. It's short. Is it being shared? Great. Okay, I need to zoom in on that.
What are you not seeing?
Oh, no. Sorry. I just saw it. It's all good. Warren says, when a teacher challenges me to debate the Oscars' new diversity requirements. Now, if you scroll down, he says, this one is for you, that Chris Gore. You are an inspiration.
Oh.
So I was really tickled. I was tickled by that. I was almost tickled.
Hey, pause it.
Okay.
Are you gonna play it or?
I'm gonna play it. It's 2 minutes. There's a longer version of this on his YouTube channel, which I'll put the link in the description there. But we're not. I'm trying to get Warren on the show. I want to get Warren here so you can talk to him. But let's take a look at this 2-minute clip from a video that he says was inspired by me. So I'm kind of a little taken aback by all of that. But Alan, you know when to mute me.
Yes.
Let's take a look at this clip from that. Okay, here we go.
Would you agree that Hollywood had a problem with representing minorities in the past?
Yeah, because racism was a real issue for a long time.
Casting those minorities that before didn't even have the opportunity to be a part of that world.
Opportunity is the key word, what you just said, providing the opportunity versus equal outcome. Because
based on,
if people are left to their own devices, you will never be able to achieve a specific predetermined outcome because people are left to their own devices. Therefore, you have to come at it from the other angle. You have to take the end result and impose the end result upon the process, and then artificially creating that result.
So what, when you say predetermining the result, what is the result?
A film crew needs to have X amount of a certain race on the set, not just in the cast, but also the crew. Now you're taking the end result enforcing that upon the process itself, not just presenting the opportunity for those people to engage in the movie, but saying, this is the result we want, go make it happen, or you will not qualify for an Oscar. That would be an example.
Is that a prerequisite of winning an Oscar? Because I'm having it hard to believe, but
I find that hard to believe that the Oscars would say that you need a certain amount of a certain racial makeup in order to qualify for an Oscar. You would find that hard to believe.
I would find it hard to believe that that is somewhere in writing, like an actual prerequisite of winning.
Yeah, I would find that hard to believe as well.
Okay, so just a sec, Alan. Stay on me here. Stay on this. This is Warren's channel. He describes himself also as an independent filmmaker. So his channel is called Secret Scholar Society. And his website is wsmithmedia.com. And there you go. I'm going to try to get him as a guest on the show. Subscribe to his channel. The links will be in the description. But what do we think about what Warren just said, Alan?
Well, first of all, he follows me too. So there you go. What was the part that stuck out to me? It was it kind of goes to what we were talking about with the D-Files, this idea of forcing diversity. And that what Disney found out was that when they tried to force diversity, they still couldn't fill the numbers. And so they had to go outside and start filling seats basically with people who looked like the characteristics they were going for, and could not bring in the right talent to be able to do that. And then the unintended consequences of that was that, the people they brought in were too arrogant enough to want to get help, to want to improve their art, to improve their animation. They didn't want to hear from the old white guys. And it's kind of like Star Trek. There's that utopian world that we think in the future will ultimately happen, but it's got to happen naturally. It can't be forced in any way.
That's I think the big point he's making is like, this is fine. Just don't make it like a requirement. Don't make it a necessary requirement. So look, I appreciate it's nice to see someone in the space of academia actually challenge these things. I think we've seen so little pushback against these rules. So my understanding is he's in Boston, but we are going to put our best efforts into getting Warren as a guest on an upcoming episode of the show to talk about his filmmaking and talking about pushing back against some of the bad ideas that are in academia that are now I think the big problem I have is these bad ideas from academia are now manifesting themselves in the real world in ways that are impacting all of us in every workspace and in creative fields where I don't think you can dictate rules on art. Let's go to your comments and questions here. Got a lot of great comments. We'll go through these. And we have our special guest, David Dastmalchian, joining us in 10 minutes. So get your questions ready for David. Here to plug his new horror film. Patrick Lemire, always love to see you. I love that Film Threat is becoming an actual threat. Womp Biscuits points out that these new Oscar rules only apply to the Best Picture category.
Yes,
which tells me this. Go back the last several years. Go back 10 years. Go back 5 years. Many of the films that are nominated for Oscars would not be nominated based on these new rules.
No. Well, how is Oppenheimer qualified? This I've asked this question before, but I don't believe Oppenheimer has the right quotients to be nominated. And to me, what it feels like, one of two things is happening. A is because Oppenheimer is the certain winner that the Academy basically had to bypass the rule for this movie, which tells you how the value of this rule it has no value whatsoever. And two, they're lying to us. The Academy is trying to set themselves up as the pinnacle of diversity when in fact they are violating it, and that they're pulling one over on us.
Well, I've started to read Vivek Ramaswamy's book Woke Inc. And part of the premise of the book, just because, I mean, I've enjoyed him on some podcasts. I think he's a free speech guy. I like some of what he has to say. But I started to read his book, and the big premise of the book is that corporate America uses wokeness as a deflection tactic at evil things that they do, so that they can't be questioned as to their virtuousness. And that's what I think that a lot of this is about, in particular in corporate America, is like, look at how diverse we are, but they're doing like horrible things behind the scenes, and he cites examples of this. So here you go. Dennis Wright says, those discussions are scary. An elite group of white people forcing some utopian vision ends in dystopia. Thank you for that comment.
Yeah, let me also bring up that the Academy gave, in that inclusion rules, they gave a list of 20, if not 30 organizations you can hire to ensure that your production meets the standards. So we've created an industry out of diversity, which tells you this: if you ever solve diversity and racism in America, those businesses will go away. And so those businesses have a vested interest in staying in business by keeping this narrative going. I can tell you, a friend of mine had to hire one of these people, one of these organizations, and it wasn't cheap. It was tens of thousands of dollars for a company that doesn't make that kind of money. And what they got in the end was nothing. It was absolutely nothing.
It's another grift for the industry, like the COVID compliance grift, like the intimacy coordinator grift. All of this is to make you look good to the world. This is why these budgets have ballooned, right? These budgets have just gone skyrocketed out of control in Hollywood, where a movie like The Marvels, which looks like it should have gone direct to Disney Plus, cost $300 million. And then a movie like Dune Part 2 cost what? 160? Half the cost of The Marvels? Ridiculous. More comments here. I get some great comments. Byron B says, Oscars do nothing equals Oscars so white. Oscars take action equals discriminating accusations. Davina Duckworth says, diversity hires equals imposter syndrome. Well, for example, Ava DuVernay has a company, and it's a resource. It's like a database and a resource that it's all non-white people who are listed for crew positions, where you can just go to that website, look up people who fit the bill, and crew up so that you can fit these requirements. It's kind of weird. And of course, I'm sure there's some sort of referral fee woven into that. Siphon says, it's sad that people will now believe ethnic minorities are just diversity hires. That's what the saddest part is. People will be looked upon like, are you really qualified to be here, or are you just standing here to meet a quota? That is why all of this is wrong, in my opinion. Do you want more seats at the table? Absolutely. We want that, but it should all happen organically. Yeah. Right.
I mean,
like
the other side to this is, even if you wanted to hire for diversity, what's being forced upon these people are not actual people of color who can do the job. They're kind of foot soldiers. They are the ones who will keep the flames of racism going in your company. Because I know a lot of people of color who are in these industries who are good at their jobs, and they can't get hired because they don't fall in line with the groupthink. And this is exactly what is happening at Disney as well. You know, the people of color who are animators, who are artists, they're being pushed to the side, shut up, and these new woke radicals are coming in and taking over.
Well, look what it's done to animation. I mean, look at Wish.
Yep.
Oh my God.
That's exactly what happened.
Horrible. More comments here, and then David Dastmalchian is joining us in 5 minutes here. Kwa, and then we're going to talk more Dune at the end of the show. So David will be on for about 30 minutes ish, 20 to 30, and then we're going to talk more Dune, and I have a couple more news stories. What do people think? For the chat, question for the chat: what do you think of us doing news stories on Wednesdays, talking topics? Just a thought, and if you thought some of these topics were fun. Hama Kwa says, this is what they're doing for all those gender studies majors. They can do nothing but grift.
Well, it gets even worse. What if Washington or Sacramento solves racism? They'd all be out of jobs.
Right.
You know, there's no vested interest in them to bring equality to America, to to let us all join hands in one nation. No, they've got to keep the grift going because that's where they get their votes. And there's a lot of money behind it. These DEI organizations, how much tax dollars do you think they get?
El Chupa Hueso says, "Do news when news happens." I like that. And Lord Thoth, news stories are good. I mean, obviously we're selective, and it's news we think will interest you, or at least lead to interesting conversation and or clips that Glenn Brown can clip. Shout out to Glenn, our producer. Glenn, clip them, baby.
Yes.
Clip them with an awesome thumbnail. But no, this is, I sent that video of Warren to a bunch of people, the one about J.K. Rowling, saying, you have to see this. Some sober-minded view from academia. When does that happen? And then that video blew up, not because of me, because a lot of people shared it.
Sadly, he's a small minority.
Red French Moon, who's a member, says, true, but years after years, they also populate their ranks with people that actually think that fresh out of college. So they now have soldiers believing it. Yeah, it's kind of sad. Yeah. Alan Horkin says he blew up and his life will never be the same again. He's trying to make the best of it. Hope he gets a chance to make films. Oh, really? I didn't know. Alan, if we can get Warren on the show, I want to ask him how this has affected his life. I wonder if it's affected his employment. I did see him on some other shows, but by the way, please subscribe to Warren's YouTube channel. We'll put a link in the description. Thank you, Miss P Coffee, for that. There is a longer version of the video we showed. We showed the clip from Twitter. There's a longer version of the video on YouTube, and he has other videos, essays as well. Davina Duckworth, when you don't hire for merit, you get incompetence. Well, Delta Airlines has something to say about that. So, yeah. I've got Paulie texting me during the stream. So I'm going to text him back. Please don't text me during streams.
Yeah, and why is he not modding?
I'm going to stop my thing for a minute. I'm just going to say, here we go. He sent me an update about the John Waters thing. It's not set in stone. The news story is a bit exaggerated. There's no start date or green light to begin production, but they're working toward making that happen. It's not that big of a deal. Most news stories that you read in the trades are BS anyways.
Yeah,
it's
they're
just
aspirational.
Not the Guardian story made it look like this movie was a go. It's not a go. And
sorry. I meant to do that one.
First of all, by the way, I love Paulie.
From Mexican Iron Man, Latino slant equals fired.
But that about, no, we're joking. We're all joking. We're having a good time here. All right. It's time to pivot. We're going to talk about something very fun. A new movie that is coming out, and I am super excited to talk to the star of this film, which I'm very happy. David Dastmalchian is known for so many incredible, memorable roles in movies. You first remember him in The Dark Knight in 2008, where he played one of the Joker's henchmen. He was interrogated by Batman and Harvey Dent. He was in Dune Part 1 as Peter de Vries, the Mentat. He's always in such memorable roles. You know him as Polka Dot Man from The Suicide Squad, worked with James Gunn. I'm hoping somehow David makes his way into the DC universe. He is now the star of a film called Late Night with the Devil, which is about a 1977 live television broadcast that happens over Halloween, and things go horribly wrong. It is a horror film that I have seen. It is incredibly original, bizarre. David he plays this late night TV show host. The character's name is Jack Delroy, who has this colored history, and it's this fateful night on Halloween. David's here to tell us all about it. And friend of the show, David Dastmalchian. Dude, so good to see you. All right, hey, let's put you front and center.
Hi, Chris. Hi, Alan.
Hi. Hey, David. Yeah, I got to tell you, I saw this movie last year at South by Southwest. You were there. It was incredible in a packed audience, for crying out loud.
It was so awesome.
It was
so
amazing.
fun. That was such a fun night. Oh man, I'll never forget that.
Is it coming to theaters? The movie's coming to theaters, right?
March 22nd. We're in theaters, like 500 screens, I think, around this country. So there's lots of places to see the movie. So get your friends together and get a group together and go. And I'm trying to bop around and pop in and see, people in the theaters where it's playing. And then in April we will be going to Shudder, which is me, so it's definitely one of my favorite, if not my favorite streaming service, because I'm such a horror nut. And I'm really proud of the film. I'm so glad you guys dug it. I think that it's unlike anything I've ever gotten to do before. And it's unlike anything I've really ever seen before. Our mutual friend, Kevin Smith, when he watched it, he said that it was like Rosemary's Baby meets Network. And I was like, that is such a rad hybrid comparison. But it's, it's like when they sent me the script, I remember thinking, like, who thinks of Dave Dastmalchian to be a talk show host? Like, talk show hosts are charming and comedians. He's like the monologuing is such an important part of being a talk show host. But as an actor, me, how much I love the challenge of getting to figure out how to get inside of a character, how to make something work. And when I read the script and I saw their deck, they made this really cool lookbook that looked like designed like an old TV guide from the 70s, but it had me in there as Jack Delroy. And here's this guy who is last place in the ratings. Carson was clobbering him. He just lost his wife. He's basically on the verge of a nervous breakdown, and his whole life is based around this show, which is about to be canceled. And so there's a lot of relatable, I think, pathos and drama in the character. And as people can do sometimes, he just bends his own ethical compass enough to try to justify making some real questionable choices about what he's going to put on his show that night, that fateful night, in the hopes that he could goose the ratings. And it just horribly backfires. And it's a really, it's such a fun movie, man.
It's such a fun movie. And what I love about it too is you and the filmmakers put so much effort into, there's this like mini documentary about Jack Delroy and his career and the ups and downs, right? Your relationship, the character's relationship with his wife, the ratings battles. And it's so perfectly set in that early 70s late night television. And things were so different. This is when 3 channels existed. It captured that era. I recommend when you watch the film, go see it in the theater, because I can't wait to see this movie with an audience. And if you do a Q&A, maybe on social media, announce because I usually go to the AMC Burbank 16. It's the most profitable AMC theater in the United States. Hopefully you'll pop in. A lot of people popped in. I saw The Rock there. I saw the cast of Jackass. A lot of people pop in. Maybe you'll go to one of those screenings. But this is going to work so well with the crowd. I got to see it as a screener, but and then also if you watch this movie on Shudder, turn it on right before you're about to go to bed. Because
like at 10:30, yes, put it on at 10:30, which is when it would have been broadcast back in the day. So put it on at 10:30, like you're getting ready to watch Fallon or you're getting ready to watch Seth Meyers, whatever you watch. So it goes on at 10:30, and it plays out in real time. It's a 90-minute movie that begins and ends. This is the footage that has been, not shown since that original broadcast in 1977. So getting to, like you said, recreate that and live in that vibe and that energy. The directors are such cinema nerds, and they are such horror nerds. In fact, the reason they cast me, they read an article that I wrote for Fangoria back in 2020, and they were like, oh, this guy would be our Jack Delroy, which is wild to me that they would get, they'd make such an important choice based on something I wrote for Fangoria magazine. But that's who they are. And when you're watching the movie, you're just going to feel like you're tuned into 1977 television. It's so crazy how well they constructed the set. The guy who is our production designer for the movie actually used to make game show sets back in the 70s and 80s in Australia. So he was the perfect choice, I think, for designing.
but there's so much effort put into this opening, the beginning of the film, with like archival footage and stills and, you know, like gossip rags and covers of magazines. What was it like going through all of that? Because that was a whole separate thing from then the movie goes to, and it's so great in terms of like a horror concept, is like a Blair Witch Project type of thing, is like, we found a videotape, and then after this little preamble, it goes to the show. There's like a palpable tension about what is going to happen. And you see a little bit of like behind the scenes, what went into like the first chunk, the sort of documentary, and then capturing that, like you are there with the audience. There was just so much gone into the believability of it.
This is an indie film, you guys. The budget was very small. I am so impressed with how the fellas shot all that footage of the documentary style stuff that shows Jack Delroy and what led to that fateful night, was stuff that they shot on Super 8 and on their own cameras, like running around trying to recreate a version of LA and New York of the 70s with we were going into like cafes in Melbourne and like just trying to like take pictures, make it look like paparazzi photos. And then this was such a stroke of genius to do the voiceover for the documentary stuff. They got Michael freaking Ironside. I know all of your fans watching the show right now will know who Michael Ironside is. And the fact that he delivered that speech so perfectly was like the cherry on top to me of how kick-ass their approach was to making the movie. So then we go to make the movie, and they got me. They had a live band who was so awesome. The guys playing throughout, which you would have if you were doing a talk show. We didn't have the full audience every day because that would have been expensive, but there a number of the days, like when I'm doing the big monologue or when things are going haywire, we had an audience full of people all dressed in like Halloween costumes because it's the Halloween episode. As an actor, that stuff is so helpful, like getting to look out and see real people staring back at you and feeling the tension and the suspense of being in live television. Dude, it was amazing.
Chris, you're muted.
Sorry about that. You've got like a ton of questions before we go to the audience questions. Like, one thing I want to point out about you, which I just because like we're commenting on all the stuff behind you, you've got so much legit nerd stuff around. I mean, you're more than just an actor. You're also a producer. You started a company. You have a comic line. Like you are like embedded. You're like a multifaceted. Can you talk about your projects outside of this just for a minute? And then we got to go to so many questions in the chat.
So I've been collecting comics obviously my whole life. I love comics and I love old horror magazines and horror comics. And I am very proud to be in now the 3rd volume of Count Crowley. She's now a mediocre Midnight Monster Hunter, which is published by Dark Horse Comics. Issue 3 is hitting stands very shortly. And I'm so proud of it. I'm so proud of the book. I'm so proud of what we've been able to accomplish. I have my own company called Good Fiend Films. We're making, film, television, live, interactive and publishing stories all told through the lens of genre. So horror, science fiction. I think that we can wrestle with really big and powerful ideas through that space, depending on anything from indie horror to high concept sci-fi. And I'm really proud to. Good Fiend is one of the co-pros on Late Night with the Devil. I also helped to produce the Boulet Brothers Halfway to Halloween special this past year. We're working on several really cool projects in different spaces. And then coming out later this year, I've got a new comic that I partnered with Todd McFarlane and Image. It's called Knights versus Samurai. And we're going to be making a big announcement about our first issue drop soon. The art is insane. It's so cool, you guys. I'm so excited about that.
And real quick question before we go to the chat, because they're on fire right now. Right above your head, I see a little sign that says "Fear is the Mind Killer." Obviously, you were part of Dune Part 1, which I saw twice in theaters in IMAX because they re-released Dune Part 1. Part 2 I've now seen twice. Have you seen Dune Part 2 yet?
I
What are
have
your thoughts?
not. I'm so excited to see it. I'm dying to see it. I'll be first in line. I'm traveling and doing press right now for Late Night with the Devil, but I'm going as soon as I possibly can. I can't wait. I've seen some behind the scenes stuff, and I've seen a lot of like concept images and stuff that I've got to take a look at, but I haven't seen anything more than the trailer that everybody else has seen. But as we all know, fear is the mind killer. Fear is the little death. We gotta. I mean, guys, Denis is the genius. I'm telling you, from everything I know, Dune 2 is just a magnum opus masterpiece, and I'm so freaking excited.
Did you miss not being there?
Of course, Alan. What do you think?
I know.
I was like, did I really have to die in part 1? But
yeah,
it's still cool. It's still cool to feel like this film series, I'll always get to have been a part of it. Like I have that for the rest of my life. I'm so proud like of the fact that I got to be a part of, and obviously, you know, just like other characters that I've loved playing. Polka Dot Man obviously had a really bad run-in with Starro, but the fact that any future iterations of the Suicide Squad, or how brilliant Peacemaker the series is, or anything else that comes from that, I always feel like Polka Dot Man is connected in some way to that world. And so I feel that way with Dune. I had a shot at getting to manifest a character who I love so much in Piter, and I love the way that first movie turned out, and I think the second film is just another giant leap forward for him.
And also you were in, I mean, God, you've just done so much. Oppenheimer was fantastic.
Yes.
I ran into you actually at where they had the symphony. That was,
yes, that's right. That was such an
night.
amazing night, man. That was such a great night. That was
cool.
fascinating. Yeah.
But I gotta ask, so James Gunn likes to work with people he likes, and you're you know, you were a part of the Suicide Squad. I don't see any reason why you can be such a chameleon as an actor. You couldn't just be in the new Superman Legacy. I mean,
I don't. Is it? I think his script is done, but it's never too late. I can just, you know, maybe I'll just show up on set and just try and sneak in the back there somewhere with background. But yeah, I'm dying to see what James does with Superman. I'm so excited. We're all of us nerds we're so lucky that we're living at a time when James Gunn gets to shape the future of DC Studios, and that his mind is orchestrating, and him and Peter are getting to really put all the pieces in play to give us a universe that I think is going to just be like nerd crack.
A lot of questions in the chat. Oh my God, there's a lot.
Yeah.
I'll try to get to as many as we can, and then you're gonna have to tell me when you gotta go. But let's start with this from a member for a month here. Question for David from Alistair Campbell. Out of all the great roles you have played, which one did you have the most fun making, and why? And your thoughts on Dune Part 2. We kind of got the Dune Part 2.
My thoughts on Dune Part 2 is it's going to be a masterpiece. I can't wait. Just based on what I've seen in the trailers, I think that the new castings are out of this world. I'm so excited to see Bautista, who's one of my favorite actors, get to go to town and hopefully get some vengeance in honor of what happened to poor Piter. Harkonnens need to dominate. And it's hard for me to say the most fun, because I've had so much fun making different things, but I really I look back on getting to be Abner, Krill, the Polka Dot Man, and the Suicide Squad, and all of the friends that I was surrounded with, and all of the joyful moments of discovery that we had being under James's guidance was something that I think about it often and I smile. It was a really beautiful time, and James is, you know, family to me. He's one of my best friends, and so having my kids around and getting to go, you know, see these actors who I've admired and look up to for so long, like Idris and Margot and Joel, et cetera, and all of them becoming such good friends was really special.
Red French Moon for €5 says, I always love you in movies. How do you find balancing going from big budget to smaller budgeted films? Is the mood the same regardless of the size of the set?
I really think it is. I really think it is Red French Moon. I feel like whether I'm doing theater for 50 people in a storefront in Chicago, or I'm making an indie film like my movie Animals or All Creatures Here Below, where we've got a crew of 15 tops, and we're running around trying to make our days with very tight budgets, or I'm on the set of a Dune or an Oppenheimer or a Suicide Squad. The work is the work is the work. It's story, 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 character, character, character. When you're in the hands of a director who's guiding you with a vision that he or she is confident in, and that they've created an atmosphere where you can be safe being as vulnerable as you need to be to tell the story, it's all the same. I love going back. I feel like I wear two skis in Hollywood. I go back and forth from the micro budget indie art house world to the big studio stuff. And both of these things inform one another. The biggest difference, I think, as a filmmaker, as a writer, I'm not a director, but I do write and I produce. In independent cinema, where your audience is skewed differently, I do feel less of an obligation to answer questions that I pose in the films that I want to make. I feel comfortable posing a question and just kind of leaving that answer open for the audience to carry away. If I'm making something, let's say a little more commercial, a bigger budget studio type project, I think there is something important in that kind of narrative experience, to pose a question and have a strong answer for it that you can really land people with in the journey of, like, let's say Joseph Campbell narrative traditions, where it's like, we're entering the forest, we're going to find our amulet, we're going to find our thing, we're going to go fight the dragon, and we're going to land on an answer. That is the biggest difference to me between big studio and indie art house stuff.
Can you talk about the directors you worked with on Late Night with the Devil? They, from what I got from South by Southwest, they seem like two really cool dudes.
They are such cool dudes. Colin and Cameron are so awesome. They're total film nerds. They know genre stuff back and forward, just like I like to think that I do. So we had a lot of fun nerding out and geeking about all of our favorite stuff, from Stuart Gordon, to David Cronenberg and Halloween series, etc. And they just are really self-deprecatingly hilarious guys who were very trusting with me. They allowed me to always infuse my thoughts and ideas into Jack. But they crafted such a great script, and they had such a strong vision, that all I was bringing was all the stuff that made it specific to me as the actor, so that I could hopefully make it feel as authentic as possible. And I'm so excited to see what they do next. They've made some really kick-ass movies, and I think Late Night with the Devil is their best achievement yet. So I'm super excited for American audiences to really discover them and see where they're going to go next. They better cast me again.
Davina Duckworth just points out on Rotten Tomatoes, Late Night with the Devil has a 100% score with 38 reviews and an average rating of 8.2 out of 10. Looking good. Good. And then
that's nuts, you guys. That's wild to me. I'm just enjoying it for the moment. I learned a long time ago to not put too much stock in what the critics say about your work, because if you believe the good stuff, then you also have to believe the bad stuff. And here's a funny story on that note. I was doing theater in Chicago, and I was doing one of the very first plays that I did when I got back up on stage, called Sailing to Byzantium. I was playing the poet Ezra Pound, and he was a very big character, big hair. He jumped all over the place. He was wild energy. And I was on my way to an audition, and I had never read any theater reviews of my work because I had been told that it could mess with your head. But I was on my way to an audition, and I needed a confidence boost. And everyone had been saying this play we were doing was getting great reviews. So I picked up the New City, which is like a free paper in Chicago, and I opened it to the theater section, and there was the review of Sailing to Byzantium, and it said, "The cast is incredible. The production is amazing. Everything is so excellent, except for David Dastmalchian, who has decided to create his Ezra Pound by gesticulating around the stage like a Batman villain." This is an actual quote. Who knew just a few short years later I would be standing on set with Heath Ledger in my opinion, the greatest manifestation of the Joker, Crown Prince of Crime ever captured on film. Standing next to him, being a part of the greatest superhero film ever made.
We've got so many questions. We'll get through as many as we can. Fear the Turtle says, David, thanks for being here. You're always an awesome interview, and your characters are always great. Has there ever been a role you turned down that you wish you would have taken?
No, I didn't turn it down, but I definitely didn't come in with the audition that I wish I would have. Back when I first got back into acting, I took about 5 years off because I had to get clean and sober. In 2002, I got clean and sober, and it took me about 5 years to get back up to being on stage and starting to audition again. And when things started to build momentum for me, I got an opportunity to audition for a TV show, which I know I wouldn't have gotten anyway, because the guy who got the role was meant to get the role and is a genius. But when I read, because I was a recovering addict, when I read the breakdown of this show, I said, this is ridiculous. There's no way this show is a joke, because it was about a high school teacher who decides to start making drugs and selling drugs to support his medical bills. And I remember being like, oh, that is so ridiculous. That would never happen in real life. And so I didn't really give it my all. But, you know, I don't think I would have gotten it even if I had given it my all, because obviously Aaron Paul was meant to play that role, and he is a legend.
Wow, that is insane. Wow. Let's see what interesting question here from Rumble. 8Ellis24 says, what is the difference between the late night shows in the US and Australia where the film was shot? Did you go back and watch any era specific shows as a reference point?
So the biggest key to me, because I watched hundreds of hours of late night talk shows when I was prepping for the role. I would watch old Johnny Carson, old David Letterman, old Conan, and then contemporary shows. But I was watching a guy named Don Lane, who was one of the biggest talk show hosts in the history of Australian television. And in the 70s and 80s, he was their Johnny Carson. And Don Lane, what was different about him, because the format was very similar. In fact, you may have seen, there's a very famous interview of Don Lane with Tom Waits that a lot of people say was possibly an inspiration for Heath Ledger when he was prepping the Joker. I don't know if that's true, but it's an interesting interview. So Don Lane did have a proclivity for things of the unknown and supernatural. So he would occasionally have on like the guy who said he could bend spoons with his mind, or the psychic who said they could talk to the dead. And Don Lane was very much like wanted to believe, you know, he was not Art Bell. It wasn't, you know, Coast to Coast, but it was a little more esoteric, and he was a little more inclined to have on strange guests in the way that I think in the US, when they would do that, they would kind of make fun of those people. And I think Don Lane actually tried to give them some an opportunity to talk about their beliefs without ribbing them as much.
Your character Jack Delroy reminds me of a little bit of Dick Cavett, who would have on interesting people.
I watched a lot of Dick Cavett getting ready for the role too. Thank you for saying that. That's a great compliment.
Dick Cavett, and then also Tom Snyder handling like John Lydon.
Yeah, Tom Snyder was amazing, man.
Tom Snyder, and he used to smoke during the show.
Yeah, yeah. And I spoke in Late Night with the Devil.
Yes,
Jack is totally smoking.
So accurate. We'll get through as many of these as we can. 8Ls24. All Creatures Here Below was fantastic. When will we be seeing the next David Dastmalchian penned screenplay in cinemas?
Thank you so much. You made my heart sing. And if you look, you can see there's Karen Gillan's head. There's a poster for All Creatures Here Below.
That's great.
She is a genius, by the way. Everyone knows that Karen Gillan's a genius. I was so lucky we got her to play Ruby in All Creatures Here Below. I'm working on 2 movies right now that I've written. We're just in the financing stages right now. So once I get the equity and the money together, one is like a small, low budget psychological supernatural drama that is very terrifying, and I'm very excited about it. And it wrestles with ideas about addiction and body autonomy and psychology. And then I've got another historical fiction piece based on 2 figures who I'm kind of obsessed with. So I'm working on it, and I've got a lot of other stuff in the pipeline that we're trying to get out there. So thank you for your support. It means a lot, and keep supporting, Good Fiend Films, because that's my space shuttle now that I'm trying to fly around this crazy town called Hollywood and make my shit.
Lord Thoth just says, David, love that spinner rack, nerd cred extraordinaire.
Thank you. I am obsessed. I mean,
I miss those.
look at that. It doesn't get much better. I've
I
got
love
so many
those magazines.
classic Bernie Wrightson, Frank Frazetta covers, even some old Weird Tales. I think that, and then obviously the comics here. But I'm really honored that I get to be an actor and a storyteller, and that I even get to make comic books. But I think my dream growing up was to fill a space like Lon Chaney or Vincent Price or Christopher Lee, Peter Lorre, and then in the comic book space, getting to write and tell stories that fell in line with what Creepy and Eerie was doing back in the day. So I'm the luckiest nerd I know. I feel like I'm living in Nerdvana. I am so grateful, and thank you all for supporting my stuff. I cannot believe I get to do this stuff. It's mind blowing, heart blowing. It's wild.
Solomon Thornton says, greetings, Sir David. Congrats on the film. Love you as Polka Dot Man. What has been the best direction a director has given you? Like, you're so
It's always comes back to the same thing. It's about trusting myself and doing less. So like John Papsadera, who's Christopher Nolan's casting director, when I first auditioned for The Dark Knight, he said, I love what you're doing. Chris is going to really love what you're doing with this character. Take all the stuff you're doing with your body and your voice and your face and put it here. The camera, don't forget, is this incredible magnifying glass that will enlarge and take us into the mind in a way that the stage doesn't, in the way that just regular interaction doesn't. So knowing that, thinking about that in those terms, like putting it in my eyes, is always very beneficial. Denis, same thing. He would just strip me down, take away all the artifice, allow me to just be as natural and comfortable as possible. James Gunn, one of the best pieces of direction I ever got. Physically, I love physical direction. That's how David Lynch, who's one of my heroes, directs. He can give very specific direction. He'd say like, put your hand on the table here and take a cup and you sip it. Like I love that specific of direction. So here's James is directing me. It's the moment where Peacemaker has been really bullying me, and he says, are you contagious? What the hell is that shit anyway on your face? And I explained to everybody the story of my mother being at Star Labs, how I was, infected with this virus, this interdimensional virus. And it's a terrifying, terrible, sad story. And James was being so supportive and encouraging of me that day, knowing that, it's his writing is so beautiful. And I was nervous, and he, at one point he came to me and he kind of whispered in my ear, he's like, when you get to the point where you're talking about this one moment, I want you to just, because we're in a muddy set, like in the forest, in the jungle. And he goes, I want you to just kind of dig the toe of your boot into the mud at your feet. I said, okay. So we're doing the scene, and I get to that point in the speech and I just do what he said, which was just dig my toe in the dirt, in the mud. And as soon as I do it, all of a sudden, something about that gesture, that way of standing with your toe digging into the mud, I was 12. All of a sudden, my body just felt like a kid and vulnerable and scared. And it just transformed me in a really wonderful way. That's the genius of someone like James, who can hone in on something that specific and detailed.
Wow. More questions here. I'm not sure how much longer you can stay.
I'm trying to figure out how does he think of something like that to get a moment?
I don't know. That's a James. That's the power of great directors. It's like they know. They have that instinct, and I don't see things in that dynamic. I see things from the point of view of the character for sure, but I'm so lucky, you guys. I mean, thinking about all of the incredible directors I've gotten to be on set with, from Michel Franco to Peyton Reed, Brian Fuller and Mike Flanagan and James, obviously, and Denis and Chris Nolan and so many more. My friend Colin, who directed Animals and All Creatures. The list goes on and on. It's a spoil of riches. I mean, it's wild.
And not just that, you get rehired by directors. Like Chris Nolan has worked with you, you know, like when you get brought back, that says a lot, I feel.
I'm so lucky. That's a great feeling too.
And you mentioned Brian Fuller from Rumble, ADellis24 says, looking forward, can you tease anything from your work on Brian Fuller's upcoming film, Dust Bunny?
You guys, it is like movies they just don't make anymore, and fans are gonna flip out. It's so cool. It is so transcendent of the way that most filmmaking these days needs to get boxed into these really tight, easy to pump out kind of criteria, whatever places, and it's got the energy and the magic of everything from Gremlins to City of Lost Children, you name it. It's got this incredible dynamic and relationship between this wonderful little actress and the genius Mads Mikkelsen. Sigourney Weaver doing work that I have never seen her do in her career. It's so awesome and cool. And a number of other actors and performances that I think are going to really blow people away. But for me, it was yet another fantastical, weird, beautiful character that I've never gotten to play before, who is pivotal to the story in a really cool way. And I am so lucky that Brian, who's like a brother to me and one of my closest friends, that we finally got to work together on something, and that it was something this special. I think it's gonna be it feels like a classic in the making to me.
Let's see, from Clues says, I'm curious how actors pick what movies they're going to do nowadays. A good script can't save a bad director. A bad director can't be saved by a good script. Seems like playing lottery, but I feel like, David, I've said this about you, you're a good luck charm. I feel like when you're in a movie, you already know it's a good movie. And I love when you will turn up randomly in a film and oh, wow, I know it's going to be good.
Yeah, I'm so lucky, you guys. I wish that I could say that I have so intentionally crafted my IMDb journey in some way. I am as a working actor. I'm not a movie star. I am a working actor. I'm a character actor. I am at the mercy of the next job, the next director who wants to hire me. I don't get to, sit around and be as choosy as you may think. I do believe that because I am so energetically in tune with the worlds of genre, fantasy, science fiction, tales that originated in the pages of comic books or in the pages of our favorite sci-fi authors, I do think that I've been drawn to that space. I think that for whatever reason, part of my spirit, there's something in there that I love exploring the dark places, and maybe my early fascination with actors like Lon Chaney, where I do want to disappear into the grotesquerie and find beauty in that. But I wish I could say, at this point now, I'm older, I'm getting old, and we've survived a lot in recent years. And I just want to spend time on sets with people who treat others with kindness and who create a safe space where you can be as vulnerable as you need to be. So that's my biggest thing anymore. If I get the opportunity and someone offers me a job, I try to do my research into finding out what's this person like? I'm going to go spend a couple months with them. How do they treat people? What's their working philosophy? Do they yell and scream? Because if so, I don't care if it's going to get me an Oscar. I'm just, life is too short. My mental health is too important. I want to be the person that I know I can be. And to do that, I have to really advocate for, the wellness of my brain as an artist and just as a dude. So that's what I'm trying to do. And if anyone's curious, the comics behind me are relegated by top shelf is all DC. The second shelf is all Marvel. The bottom shelf is all independent. So you've got Dark Horse and IDW and Image and you name it. And I am running out of room. I mean, these are getting real heavy. I gotta.
That's awesome. Love a long box. Let's see. Sons and Shadows asks, I think we got time for maybe 2 more questions. Sons and Shadows says, what would be your favorite films that inspired you to get into acting and directing? Any key influences?
I have never directed. I don't direct, but into acting and writing, I would say the films that inspired me range from the classic masterpiece, The Muppet Movie, because I love adventure stories like The Wizard of Oz, where a group of friends all meet up and go on an adventure together and have to collectively face their fears. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre, 2001: A Space Odyssey. I think a lot about the first foray into horror films that I experienced, which includes Oliver Reed and the Hammer film Curse of the Werewolf, The Wolfman from Universal, as well as all of the early Todd Browning stuff. I think that Jekyll and Hyde, the original, from the 1920s, is a masterpiece. Invisible Man, Claude Rains, you never see him on camera except for like 30 seconds in that film, and it's just so good. I love so much cinema. I love all the Cassavetes stuff. I love the big sprawling epics of the Spielberg era. I think that some of our leading filmmakers of today motivate me, inspire me. I'm huge fan of, here's a movie I love so much. If you haven't seen it, I highly recommend you guys get out and see it. Lynn Ramsey's Ratcatcher. This was actually a gift from Karen Gillan. She didn't know that I already owned it when she gave it to me. And I said to her, that movie makes me want to make movies.
Wow.
Lots. Anything by David Lynch, Mulholland Drive and Lost Highway and Blue Velvet is, I think, just one of the best things ever made. I love it so much.
Classic. And then a question here from Clute says, the Late Night with the Devils, the movie title on screen. How to send fan mail that the guy would actually get? Pumped to watch it. Do you have a way to send you fan mail?
I do. I have a fan mail address. I'll be looking it up while we're talking. And then what did they say about Late Night with the Devil? I forgot. Something nice. Excited to see it.
It was just like how to send you email.
Send me
send you fan mail.
Sure. I'll tell you. Okay, ready? You're gonna send fan mail to Dastmalchian fan mail, 2328 Citadel Way, Suite 103, number 219, Melbourne, Florida 32940. And I get all the letters, all the pictures, all the gifts. My incredible stepfather definitely goes through stuff to make sure that any of the not nice stuff doesn't have to make its way to me. But it's been a joy. People, find out that I'm a collector of, I collect old vintage Halloween records. I've always been collecting those and weird, obscure horror comics. And it's amazing having a fan mail. I can't believe that people want to send me letters in the first place, but then that they sometimes send me cool stuff. I'm the luckiest nerd I know. I mean, next James Gunn. James Gunn is he is truly floating in nerdvana right now. He is making a Superman movie while running DC Studios, while getting basically to, and I mean, he's lived his whole life for this experience. Like and we're so lucky for it.
Well, we'll put a link in the description for the address so that people will get to see it. And then last thing, someone says, what's the release date? I think you mentioned it's March 22nd.
March 22nd in theaters all around the country. So please look for it. Late Night with the Devil, and please share. I think our trailers and teasers are really cool. We've got a major trailer dropping in the next few days. That is a kick-ass trailer. It's so awesome. It's the final trailer that we're going to drop. It's playing in theaters now. The trailer is, I believe. So yeah, March 22nd, please tag me if you go see it and you post about it on social media, because I love resharing that stuff. And I'm just so grateful. Thank you guys, Chris, Alan.
Great, thank you.
I mean, Chris and I first met you guys on a short film 15 years ago pretending to do an interview. And now look at us. We're doing real
Oh my
interviews.
God, that's
Actual
oh my
interview.
God. That is crazy.
Yeah.
Wow. David, thank you so much. I just always when I see you in my movie theater, it's always just a great surprise. And you are legit nerd. Look at all that stuff. Look at those long boxes. I'm jealous. So take care. Have a great rest of your day.
Bye,
and
guys.
We're all going to see. I hope
you.
you get to come and actually maybe do a little Q&A or a little intro to the movie.
I would love that.
When it opens. So
I would love that.
awesome. All right. Take care,
Thanks,
David. Thanks
guys.
again.
Thanks.
Later.
Bye.
Bye. Bye. That was awesome. That was awesome.
I love this movie so much.
Yeah.
You have to see it in a theater and grab as many friends as you possibly can.
Oh, it's one of those where it's like it's going to freak people out.
Yeah.
Like no spoilers on it. We will review it the weekend that it comes out on the 22nd, March.
Actually reviewed it last year, but we'll review it again.
Yeah, well, no, we'll definitely review it again, but it's totally defied my expectations.
Yeah.
And when it gets to the actual, like, there are certain places where it just gets to a point in the movie, I'm dying to see this movie with an audience.
Yeah.
It's definitely a horror movie. You got to see it with a packed audience.
Yeah. And it captures that time era perfectly.
Oh,
it reminded me a lot of like Mike Douglas. I don't know if you remember.
Yeah, Mike Douglas or Dick Cavett, like that sort of like Tom Snyder smoking those late night shows. Yeah. That's why it's like Skinamarink I put on like late at night and kind of half fell asleep watching it, which is actually a good thing because you wake up and you're like, what's going on? That's what this is about. It reminds me of trying to stay up late as a kid watching late night TV that will freak you out. So there you go. All right, we had a couple of comments I think that we missed.
We had Dune comments that
we're gonna get to more Dune stuff. Look, show's not over. Let's go here. And Dastmalchian has lived a life. His drug addiction was horrifying. Excuse me. I'm still struggling, sick people. So my apologies. I'm muting myself to cough and sneeze. But thank you, Alan Horkin. Yeah, Dastmalchian's life is an inspiration. He was an addict. He went through recovery. Just as I'm recovering from a cold.
Well, not quite, but yeah.
I'm just on the tail end of it. It's fine. But in any case, no, he got clean, changed his life, got married, had kids, built a career, became this, as he says, a character actor. But it's great to see him in a lead role. And there's a really good supporting cast too in this film. And I can't wait to see it with an audience because I watched it yesterday and I'm like, oh, I need to see this with an audience.
No, you need.
There's so many moments.
At the Alamo Draft House, there were some tense moments and a lot of screaming in the audience.
Cool. Hey, Flav, member for 7 months, says these interviews really make the channel. Cheers. And all the interviews are actually archived. We clip the interviews. They're archived on our Film Threat Interviews channel. Please subscribe to it. And you'll just see it's just a lot of interviews that we did a long time ago are uploaded on that channel. So check it out.
Are we monetized there yet? Or we still need more?
That would be a great conversation to have when we're not live.
I'm just saying if we got more
bring
people
on the meteor before,
that'd be awesome.
Hey, you could bring on the meteor now. Bring on the meteor before July, says Matthew Hammond. I don't know what that comment is about, but it's fine. Thank you for always fantastic interviews. Appreciate that. And George the Giant Slayer gifted 5 Film Threat memberships. Thank you, George. And Matthew Hammond mentions the Naked Gun reboot starring Liam Neeson will release on July 15th, 2025 in theaters, directed by Akiva Schaffer and produced by Seth MacFarlane. Oh my God.
He's perfect.
That is perfect casting. Perfect. Liam Neeson as Frank Drebin. Oh my.
Oh yeah.
That is perfect because he's gotten to the point with the Taken movies that they're so ridiculous. Like you don't really take them seriously. Liam Neeson, Naked Gun reboot. Oh my God. It should be R-rated.
That improv lesson he gets from Ricky Gervais just shows that he can do deadpan humor. Like
the deadpan. Okay. Look up Liam Neeson, Ricky Gervais, audition.
Improv lesson or something like that. It's from
the improv or
from Life Too
audition.
Short. It's from
Life's Too Short. It's that scene is one of the Liam Neeson is a perfect new Frank Drebin.
Yeah.
I love it. And Darth Bender as a member says, "Hail Chris and Alan." Well, thank you for that. I don't know what some of these comments are in reference to, but I'm going to read them anyways. Patrick Lemire says, "I try to be optimistic. The Soviet Union looked permanent and it fell apart in weeks." That's probably a reference.
Context on that.
Yeah, I don't know what the context is, but it's highlighted. I'm just like Anchorman. I just read it. No idea. But we've got a few more things to discuss before we wrap it up for today. We've got, oh my God, we have so much. We're going to have more Dune stuff on. We're going to have to move some of this Dune stuff to Friday, folks. So my apologies for this. I just have a list of Dune news to go over. That is crazy good stuff. So, but I think we're going to do so. I want to get through some of these comments and then we're going to leave it there, because if we get deep into this, we're going to go down a rabbit hole. Carlos Alfredo Lopez, member for 7 months, says, "Great interview, Chris and Alan. This is what makes the Film Threat channel great. Goring duo. Waiting for the next D-Files chapter. Alan, when is the next D-Files?"
I think I have to push it off because you and I will be in Texas next week.
I think that what you should do is work on it and get it done before you leave, so we have something to talk about when you and I appear on Normal World. Yeah. That's right. Next week, which it'll be March. Next Tuesday, which I believe is March
5th.
I want to say 5th or 6th. Next Tuesday, Alan and I will be in Dallas, Texas. We will be there for basically one day. We are going to do an impromptu gathering in Dallas. We're going to be on Normal World, where we're going to talk about the next article in the D-Files series. I'm super excited for Alan to post it that day when we go out there.
Yeah, well, it'll be about Wish, so we'll fingers crossed.
All right, and we've got some Dune-related questions. Let's see. Fiutut says, "Chris, I don't think Dune 2 was good. And I really wanted to love it." What?
There goes that comment.
"And the pacing was way off. It felt like 30 to 60 minutes in between were cut. We were skipping so much stuff and it was rushed." I did feel the third act was rushed. I think if you've read the book, you will like it less. And I liked it more the second time I saw it. So I'll just say, I'd say give it another chance. See it on an IMAX screen. And the second time I saw it, the things that bothered me the first time bothered me less. And I will say this, the book exists. And if you haven't read the book, one of the rare times I'll say, check out the newer edition of the audiobook where they hired actors to actually perform the roles of Baron Harkonnen, Paul Atreides, Lady Jessica, etc. They hired like a group of actors to do male, female voices. And I think it's very good. So I hear you, and I can't say you're wrong. I mean, it's a subjective experience, but also as a fan of the book, so many little things bug me. I think, and I think one of the biggest things that bug me is so many of the things they cut out of Act 3. I felt the third act, they just kind of rushed to get to the end. That still is a flaw to me.
Yeah.
And I
the moment between the big battle and then the arena kind of battle.
Yeah.
It happened out of nowhere.
It seemed too quick. So that I think they could
more stuff to lead up to it. That's what I'm saying.
It could have almost been 30 minutes longer. I know maybe some people are rolling their eyes, but it felt like some things were missing.
Well,
okay.
I always think of these movies as advertisement for the book.
Yeah, it's a great advertisement for the book. If you liked what you saw, you want more lore, you want more story, you want more character, you want more World of Dune, you want deeper everything. I mean, I don't know, like every book that I've loved that gets turned into a movie, I always like the book more. That's like that's default setting, you know? But and I love that book and I've read it multiple times. So there you go. And the audiobook was like I'm like, oh, the audiobook, I got stuff to do around my place. I'll just put the audiobook on and riveted. So yeah, I suggest see it again. See it again.
Read the book. See it again.
Yeah,
And read the book.
The Demi Fiend for 5. Do you think that Count Fenring should have made an appearance? And do you think that was who Tim Blake Nelson was cast to play? Oh, bingo. Yeah, I think a lot of stuff was cut. I think a lot of stuff was cut from this movie. I think he was given a mandate that it needed to be under a certain running time. The actor who played Thufir Hawat, who was actually not obviously in the book, but was in the David Lynch Dune, 1984 Dune. Thufir Hawat is in the third act. He's just completely absent from this movie. And they shot those scenes with Austin Butler. Tim Blake Nelson makes sense as Count Fenring, especially based on who Count Fenring is with. It makes sense to me. And yeah, I didn't see him in the film. I do think they're credited. I would love to see, regardless of whether, you know what? I know Denis Villeneuve is like, this is my version of the movie. Why am I going? That's a terrible accent. That's a terrible accent. That's a terrible French accent.
Oh no, Miss Peacoffy got thumbs up going there. So keep it going.
Yeah. No, she's giving me a thumbs up. It's a good accent. Should I keep doing it?
Yeah, keep doing it.
I always think of Pepe Le Pew. Pepe Le Pew, the skunk. Hilarious.
Wow.
Anyways, I think that Denis Villeneuve should just do a longer version. He should take both movies, put them together, add every deleted scene just for the book fans.
Yeah.
Let us decide.
But
Peter yeah, you're right.
Peter Jackson did it. Denis can do
Peter
it.
Jackson did it. Just do it. I don't care if it's a cash grab. Take my money. So thank you, Demi Fiend. Yeah, that makes so much sense. I have so much Dune to talk about on Friday. I don't want to get into it because we had a lot of other stuff to do today. Eric K for 5. Thank you for that, Demi Fiend. Eric K for 5. Dune 2 success will show Hollywood Zendaya needs to be in every movie. How soon will we get look-alike 12-year-old girl looking ladies in everything? Wait, get look-alike 12-year-old girl looking ladies in everything. I don't know about that. I'm not a fan of Zendaya. I think she is a model who can remember words.
She's a Disney Channel kid.
She's like a Disney Channel thing. I'm just not a fan.
She is a Disney Channel kid.
Yeah, I'm just not a fan. And I think that you needed someone that Timothée Chalamet had real chemistry with. And that's one of the weaker parts of the movie for me. Anyways, I'm sorry to cut it. Oh, wait, here we go. Epic Mike coming in hot. We need more long movies in theaters if the story calls for it. I agree. There have been too many movies that are 2.5 hours long. They don't need to be 2.5 hours. They do not need to be 2.5 hours.
Yeah, Barbie.
Look, dramas 2 hours, comedies 90 minutes, documentaries 90 minutes, horror films 90 minutes. Late Night with the Devil 90 minutes. Mm-hmm. It flies. It's great. But yeah, no, and epics, movies that are epics, historical epics, science fiction epics, 3 hours. Make them 3 hours. Thanks, Epic Mike. Got to chat soon. And oh shit!
Rumble. Yeah.
I unstarred it. I got someone unstarred it, and then I was trying to unstart something else. What it is 3 people trying to do one thing. And there you go. But from Rumble. Lies, I was not giving a thumbs up. What is this?
Oh, who's it from?
Who's it from? Ms. P. Coffee, moderator lies, but I can't. All right. Caveat ties sub supporter did listen to the audiobook with the actors, but only half the book was confusing. All right. I still enjoyed it. Enjoyed it. $2. And thanks for the $2. I don't know what that was in reference to. All right, we're wrapping it up today. That's it. Come back on Friday. We got more Dune. We have other movies that we're going to review. There are other movies that are coming out. We've got a special guest on Friday that'll be joining us. It's just going to be this is our Dune Spectacular on Friday. And then we're back with Versus on Monday. And then Alan and I are off on a plane on Tuesday on Normal World in Dallas, Texas. And we'll also discuss Alan's new article, The D-Files, next week. I can't wait.
Yeah. And then, okay, so I'll be at South by Southwest next week. I'll be posting videos from the Q&As. And then Sunday, what is happening a week from Sunday?
Oh, that's right. A week from this Sunday is the Oscars. It is going to be amazing. We are going to have a ton of special guests. We've got, oh my God, we have so many special guests that are going to be there. So much happening. Maybe I can give you a little tease of what's going to happen. It's our annual Oscars watch party, and it's going to be incredible. Who did I have here? I guess I don't have it. I thought I uploaded a video.
Did you put in the right brand?
Am I in the right brand? I don't know. Oh, here it is.
Maybe. I think it's in
the right brand. All right. The watch party is going to be off the chain.
As the vice president, I have many duties. However, if Mr. Biden needs a nap, I will be there for him at the watch party. And sorry for my bobblehead.
So there you go. Our vice president is coming to
and
the
our
watch
former
party.
senator here in California.
There you go. It's going to be awesome. But that wraps it up for us today. We will be back. We will be back on Friday. Our Dune Spectacular. George the Giant Slayer gifted another 5 Film Threat memberships. Thank you, George. We appreciate it. And I want to say thank you to our mods, Lord Thoth, Latino Slant, and a big shout out, happy birthday to Mexican Iron Man. In fact, I have a birthday treat for Mexican Iron Man. And for those of you, look, if you're a patriotic American, this is going to be something. I hope we can all bring everyone together and agree on this. I love breasts. Women look at other women's breasts. Gay men love breasts. One thing that could unite the world is breasts and cleavage. I really believe that. I truly believe in breasts. Well, there you go. Shout out to Mike for his birthday. And you know what I know about Mike? He loves breasts. He loves breasts. All right. Lots going on in Film Threat Land. New D-Files next week. Normal World appearance. Alan at South by Southwest. Oscar watch party. What else are we doing? I don't know.
And that's a week. I mean,
that's in the next week. So just stick with us. And thank you so much. All right, Alan.
Let's get out of here.